Hello viewers, Sniper Wolf 1001 here with another figure unboxing and review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the MegaHouse Precious Gems series Kurama-Susanoo armor from Boruto. Now, as of May 2020, this model is finally available, and I'm really excited to jump into this because I've been waiting for this for a long time. I've always wanted a statue of Kurama in Susanoo armor. So without any further ado, let's jump right into this. So taking a look at the box here, so of course this is the front side here. The box is looking very aesthetic with the nice contrast between orange and purple. Of course we have some writing on the side here. Now if we take a look to the sides, so on the side of the box, we just have, just says Kurama-Susanoo there on the side and some markings there. Taking a look at the back of the box here, of course, it's just going to show Kurama from a couple different angles here, as you can see. And then down here, of course, we have Naruto and Sasuke. Of course, just a few close-ups at the different parts of Kurama here as well. So it's a pretty stylish box, that's for sure. At the very bottom, we have this little design with the Tomo and the model there, Kurama-Susanoo, of course. And then the top portion of the box is similar to that. It just doesn't have Kurama there. But anyway, let's jump into this. I'm going to take this out of the box. And of course, this is a very sizable box, as you can see here. So I'm expecting a pretty large model here. Alright, now that we have everything out of the packaging, this is essentially everything that comes with this set here. So as you can see, we have the model of Kurama over here. We have Kurama's tails over here, and of course they come detached, but it should be fairly simple to mount that into Kurama. It's just one attachment point. We have the Susanoo sword here, which we can take a look at. One feature about it is that this end here, you can actually detach this. So you can detach that so that you can slide the sword into the hands and then, lock it up with this. So pretty neat there. And then of course it comes with two plastic stand-up art pieces of Naruto and Sasuke here. And the cool thing about these little pieces of art here is that they each come with their own individual stand. And one little small detail that I like about these stands is that their name actually comes in their respective colors. So you can see Uzumaki there is written in yellow. And of course with Sasuke here, Sasuke Uchiha is going to be written in purple just up there, which is pretty interesting. So pretty neat that they included both of these little stand-up pieces of the two characters here, so you can kind of have them standing right next to Kurama, which is pretty cool. And yeah, of course the art on these pieces actually look pretty good as well too. They're almost like screenshots straight from the anime, which is pretty interesting. So now getting onto the model, I'm gonna quickly assemble the tails here. The tails shouldn't be too difficult, as there's going to be one little mount right down here. You can see that little indented spot there. That's where the tail is essentially going to sit. So I'm going to mount that in real quick. All right, there we go. And this goes in pretty easily. Not too much of a struggle to get the tails into Kurama there. And the tails are going to add an extra level of support for Kurama as well too, because you can see that the tails for the most part are grounded. So it adds a whole extra layer, extra surface layer for Kurama at the back there. So it won't, you can be certain that this is not going to fall over. So just taking a look at the Susanoo sword here, I actually really like the depth of detail that they put on this, just because you can see that there's a lot of divots and scars and marks on the sword here, which is actually pretty interesting. It looks like it's been used. You can see that a lot of the sharp edges here are very worn out. There's a lot of divots going through it, so it looks very heavily detailed in that regard as well too. Of course, there's a bit of color color variation going through it. For the most part, it's all purple, but you can see that right here, just at the base of the handle, you can see that there's a bit of a dark purple there, and then it kind of color shifts out, and it gets brighter, almost to it gets to like a very, very bright purple as it gets to the edge of the blade there, and then right as it gets to the tip, it goes into like a darker purple there, which is pretty interesting. So I'm just gonna mount this right into Kurama's hands. Alright, now I've fully assembled my Kurama here. So just taking a closer look at the model here, just to get a good picture of the level of quality that we're looking at here. So honestly, I am very, very happy and impressed with the level of detail here that MegaHouse has presented with this Kurama model. Just taking a look at this as I pan around, taking a look at the face here, all the colors are just very, very impressive. The purples that they use and the way that they contrast with the yellows and the oranges of Kurama is just very nice. You can see, just as we take a look at the face here, if I tilt this up just a little bit, looking at the Susanoo helmet here, of course there's a lot of, they go into good detail here with the design of the helmet here, which looks pretty interesting. Then even on the back, you can actually see like the segmented armor plates going down the back of the neck, which is really interesting. Taking a look at the mouth, you can see that right here, so if I lift this up a little bit, they actually detailed Kurama's teeth really nicely there, as well as the eyes. You can even see to the left of Kurama's cheek there, you can actually see some of the black markings, despite the fact that they have he has the Susanoo helmet armor there, you can still see the black markings there, and of course the black markings around his eye, and then of course you can see the Susanoo eyes over Kurama's eyes there, of course there with the yellow eyes as well, looking very heavily detailed. Another thing that I really love about this model is the fact that how they went about detailing the purple Susanoo chakra energy almost like smoking off of the armor plates. So you can see just as we take a look at this piece here, this is very beautiful translucent piece here, effect piece that you can see it comes straight off of the armor, and it has various color shifts, especially if we take a look at the armor here. You can see that closer to the body, the armor is more of a dark purple, and then as it goes out, it kind of fades to a brighter purple. But then, of course, we go straight to these chakra energy parts. They have various color shifts going through them. Of course, you can see right here, we have like these little white tips here. And then, of course, we go more into like a purple, very translucent here, which is very beautiful. And I love the design, how they flow around, they curve and whatnot. And then even up to here, you can see when they go into like that kind of white, almost like cloudy look where it's just kind of smoking off of the body, looking really nice. And of course, they have a lot of that here. We have more on this shoulder here. We have another piece of that on the tail here, looking very beautiful. And we have a very large piece here, right here on the leg armor piece, looking really good. It's a very beautiful looking design, in my opinion here. So, taking a look at Kurama's tails. So the tails are very large. So you can see that the tails are way larger than Kurama itself, than the model itself. You can see that this is going to take up a lot of area here. There's just like a lot of the tails here are very thick. They have a lot of color shifts going through them, which is pretty interesting, because you can see that if you look close to the base of where the tails would mount onto Kurama's body, the coloration is definitely more of like a deep yellow, but then as it kind of goes out, you can see that it starts to slowly transition into that orangey design. And it's actually kind of interesting because as it hits that orange color, it almost starts to turn into a bit of a translucent, which is nice because it kind of gives that effect that this is like the chakra, this is like the Kurama chakra that's forming the tails, right? Which is really cool because you can kind of see that there's a bit of clarity toward the tips of the tail here, but then of course as you go to the base, it's more of a solid color, which is interesting. And then of course another thing about the tails here is that, like I mentioned before, the tails are very big and they increase Kurama's, I guess, back size, I suppose, a lot more. The thing that's nice about that is it definitely increases Kurama's stability. Since the tails are pretty much grounded, they're all sitting on the ground here. You don't have to worry about Kurama falling over. Like, you can wobble him all you want, but those tails are going to keep him grounded there, which is really nice. This is a very nice pose that they have Kurama in here. Pretty much almost like this is he's going in for that final slash against Momoshiki in Boruto. So this is I really appreciate this pose here, looking very cool. Of course, he has the sword at the ready, looking really nice. And then of course going again on the little purple chakra parts here. I really like this on the, I believe these are called pauldrons or whatever, like the little armor pieces here, the segmented armor. I kind of like how we have more of the chakra kind of smoking off of the arm, and it's kind of like following that. You can tell that he's kind of swinging in that direction just based off of how the chakra is kind of bending to the motion here, which is really nice. It's a very beautiful looking design. This was definitely very methodically put together, that's for sure. I also really like the details here, how Kurama, you can see Kurama's ears sticking out of the top parts of the armor. The helmet piece, and of course there's very subtle color shifts going through it. You can see on the inner part of the ear we have more of a faded yellow or orange going right on the inner part, but then of course on the outsides it's more of a darker color, of course. There on the back here, just underneath the helmet, you can actually see Kurama's exposed back here, and then of course you can see the like the black markings and the tattoos kind of going down from the shoulder all the way down the arms, and of course they get covered up by the rest of the armor. But that's definitely a really nice looking detail there. So, and then even looking down to the feet here, if we take a look, just a quick look at the claws, you can actually see that the claws are very beautifully detailed. You can see that they look very sharp, very nice, and there's even though for the most part this is all yellow, there's still very subtle color shifts going in between the individual segments of the toes here, right? The claws are looking very sharp, very nice, and then if we take a look onto his other claws here, again, very sharp looking claws here. Almost looks very demonic, which is pretty neat here. There's a very good attention to detail here on every bit of Kurama here. That's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about in regards to the MegaHouse Kurama-Susanoo model. Just to go into my final thoughts here. Honestly, I think that I honestly can't say that there's a thing that I can't think of any flaws for this statue here. This is a very beautifully designed statue. Again, like, I think the thing that does it for me is I love the beautiful effect that they have going on here with the purple Susanoo chakra energy kind of flowing off of the body here. I think that definitely adds that extra level of detail that really makes this model for me. The pose is definitely a perfect pose. You can see that Kurama is rearing up and getting ready to do like an upward swing with the sword, which is a very nice looking pose there. Very nice action pose. Very neat. Of course, like the whole blend between orange and yellow, I mean orange and purple here, is a very nice color combination on this model. It's very beautiful. Like, honestly, the only thing about this model is that it's a pretty pricey model. This came a little bit over $300 Canadian, so this is pretty damn pricey, but when you actually take into account the level of detail on this model here, especially the size of it, because this is by no means a small model, this model is going to take up a lot of space in your area, especially when you take this into account. When you look at the back here and you look at the tails, and you see the whole area, the surface area that the tails are going to be taking up, it's definitely a very sizable model. And of course, these energy pieces flowing at the top here increases the height of Kurama a lot more. So it's definitely a very sizable model for sure, and the level of quality that you're talking about here with this model is very high. It's very impressive in my opinion. So I think if you're willing to spend that much money on a Kurama or a Naruto model, I personally say that this Kurama is a very, very safe purchase. So, I was always looking forward to getting like a Kurama-Susanoo armor, because I thought when that happened in the anime, that was a very cool moment. I actually wanted a model of the first time Naruto and Sasuke ever did it, where Kurama's body was completely covered in the Susanoo armor. Even the tails, like everything was pretty much purple. There wasn't any orange or yellow anywhere. But honestly, I think that this design from Boruto is a very nice looking design as well too. Like I like how it's more kind of, I guess you could say, realistic armor, where it's not, his whole body is not completely covered. He has like the pauldrons. His back is exposed. Of course, the tails aren't covered in armor. Of course, his hands are exposed and his feet as well too. So it's a very, and of course, like I think this detail here where his ears are sticking out of the helmet as well too. I think that's a very nice looking design as well too. So this is I'm very happy for this being like my first I guess Kyuubi or major Naruto figure, because I haven't really collected a Naruto figure yet, but this was definitely my first one to get, so I'm really happy with this, and it's honestly pretty cool. I think the fact that they included little art piece stands of Naruto and Sasuke here to go along with Kurama, I think that was honestly a pretty nifty feature there as well too. So that's pretty much going to bring this review to a close. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys found it informative. There's definitely going to be more figure and model reviews and unboxings coming in the future, and more Naruto stuff as well too, so I hope you guys stay tuned for that. But until then, I hope you guys stay safe. I hope you guys have a good night or good day, depending on where you are, and I will see you all later.